Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. In our last video we went ahead and created Jill's torso, and this one we're going to make her leg. So, to get started, let's go ahead and save our file. So File, Save As, and we'll do this as Jill 3. Okay, let's go ahead and add in a cylinder. Go to our channel box, and let's move this up to about here. Go to our front view. We'll move this here, and let's go to our poly cylinder settings. Radius, middle mouse click and drag to adjust the size of the leg here. I think that's pretty good. For the number of subdivisions, we're going to drop that down to 8, like so. And then let's position this right about here, and I'm going to move this, go into vertex, select the bottom, and go ahead and move this down all the way to the foot. I'm going to hold down the X key and just snap it. So X and then drag. We're going to shape this to the leg. Now, Jill's leg looks like it goes pretty straight, but it angles in just a tad. So if I move this, it's a pretty straight leg. That's pretty good. That shouldn't be too bad. Pretty easy to work with. Let's go into vertex selection, and I will grab these. Grab my scale tool. I'm going to use the middle scale. Just scale that in, and I will position it center on the boot. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to grab my multi-cut tool. And let's look for where the knee is. The knee is about here. So hold shift, middle mouse across the knee. Get rid of my tool, and I will select the vertices. I'm going to middle scale those in. It's pretty good. Remember that she has pants and the knee pads. So I'm going to go a little bit smaller just so I can try to snug up to the leg here, and then we can build the knee pad around it. I'm going to go into a side view. Just check position from here. That looks pretty good, but you can see Jill's leg is a bit wider this way. So instead of middle scaling here, I'm going to use my forward scale, and I will scale that out like so. And I will move it back to try to adjust to the leg, like that. And then down here, you can see that the knee is slightly off position on the side. So we're going to use this once again for depth, but we're not going to use it for the height. Okay? So for here, the knee is probably about this area. So I'm going to move this back, like so. Come all the way down here. I'm going to move this to the heel. Get my multi-cut tool. Let's go ahead and put a cut in the center of the leg here. And I'll move that up just a tad. And I will scale. I'm going to do one at the pant leg here. Adjust that just a bit. I will scale. I'll do one more cut right around the boot. Create a bit of a separation here. I'm also going to do a cut right here to adjust where that pant leg is. So I'll do a split right about there. And I'll use vertex selection. And I'll just move these back. I think that's good. I'm not going to worry about the jaggedness of this. We'll worry about that later. But I think this is pretty good here. I'm going to get my multi-cut tool. I'm going to put a slice right about here where the boot meets the top of the foot. like so. Go check my front view. You can see here, if you want to get the shape of the pants here, you would just pull these out. Okay. Down here for the side of the boot, I'm gonna taper these in. Get these. Oops. Okay. For the front of the boot here, I'm going to go ahead and grab my multi-cut tool. I'm going to add in the heel here. So I'm going to do a slice right about there. Looks good. And then I'm going to go into face selection and go into my perspective view. And I want to make sure we're in Z here. I'm going to get the front faces of this ankle right about here. Hit extrude, and then W, and let's go ahead and pull this out straight, and just check our side view. I can go out a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Vertex selection, I'm going to lower these down, about here. And let's adjust these to fit around the toe. So about here. And I'll pull this one back. Let's check our perspective. A little bit twisted here. Grab these, and I'm going to even those out. I think that's pretty good. Need to add the sole. So I'm going to do a cut. So get my multi-cut tool. I'm going to cut right about here in the middle of the foot here, about where that is. That looks good. Yeah. I'll hit Q to get rid of my tool, and then I'll go into face selection. And let's grab these bottom four faces. I'll extrude, and then W, and we'll pull that down. Let's check our side view. And I'll use X as I move this to snap it down. And now this boot has this arch to it. To do that, I'm going to take these front ones and just move those down. I'm not going to worry about the curvature. That's just a artifact of the drawing. But here we have that arc. To flatten out this heel, I'm going to go into face selection. Let's do this. I'm going to take these. So these four faces. Get my scale, and I'm going to forward scale this so it flattens off, like so. Look at that. Beautiful. Now I do want to split this heel. So what I'm going to do is add an extra cut here. So I'll come into here. Let me adjust this arc. So these I'll move kind of out to here. This can come up forward. I can move these out. So I get my multi-cut tool. I'll hold Control, and that's going to let me add in a loop here. I need one right about there where that heel is. So add that. I think that'll be good. And I'm going to do one right about here as well. I'm also going to connect the bottom of the foot here So this one to that one. And then right click. That creates a nice slice across. I'll do the same thing up top. So this one over here. Gives me a nice slice across. And this is going to make it so that when we bend the foot, that it's going to flex. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these just to show you. So if I grab this, and let's say Jill is taking a step or something, we can flex that toe. It would look like that. If we don't have that cut in there, it's going to get weird. So like right here on this heel also needs to be able to flex. So if I were to take like this section and try to flex that, it's not going to work. It'll flex in here because we have cuts, but this does not have a cut. That's just a jumbled mess, and you can see that right here. That's not going to work. So I'm going to go back, hit Q to get rid of my tool, and I'm going to go into face selection. I'm going to get rid of these faces here, so I'm going to take this one, this one, this one, and that one. I'm going to hit delete to cut those off. Okay. I'm going to take these four. I'm going to hit extrude. W so I can get a straight line. Then I'm going to pull this down straight. Now, as I'm pulling this out, I'm going to go into here, inside of my shoe, and you can see inside here we have these internal faces. So these back faces here. You might be able to see them under here, but it's kind of tricky just because of that edge. So these are good, the bottom ones are fine, but these backed ones have to go. So this one, and this one. Now you can see sometimes scrolling is just too much of a jump. If you hold Alt and then right click, you can use the dolly effect, which gives you a much smoother zoom. And that lets me move around inside the shoe here without clipping as much. But I want to get these four faces. So that one, this one, and that one. Delete those off. And then I will take these four bottom ones, this one, this one, this one, this one, and we're going to go into our side view like this. Get my scale tool, I will scale it flat, and then I will use my move tool to snap it to the ground. So hold X and then drag the arrow down to snap. Very good. And now we're going to merge these edges here. So get my target weld tool. And we have these two vertices, so this one and that one, get in close here. So this one to that one. These two can go together. These two can go together. You can see how they don't quite line up. So let's move this one to that one. I'll do this one to this one, and then that to the corner. That to the corner. Not too bad. And now I can just move these to shape them. Now we have these weird crisscrossing edges. We don't need these. So I'm going to go into edge mode. I don't like this spiral of nonsense. So let's go ahead and just reorient these. I'm going to take these edges off. So this one and that one. That makes this a quad. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this one I'm going to merge to the corner in the back. Okay. Now what this is going to do is when this flexes, we won't see this distort as much. Let's go ahead and move this back and I'll show you. So I'll take these, move that back some, and now if this boot were to flex here, so if we grab this section of the boot, and she's going to step, now most of your weight's going to be on the heel, but as that heel flexes a little bit, like this, we're not going to see as much distortion because we have a nice clean edge right here. Okay, but if we have that spiral here, so if I go back and I undo that, okay, watch what happens. If I grab these and we're bending on that spiral, I'm going to go ahead and grab that. We get this diagonal slice. See that? And it's trying to split right off of that corner piece. Okay? which is why I prefer to go back to that being straight. Yeah. That's why I prefer this to be in that corner. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag that back to there. And there are a number of different ways of solving that heel, but I think that's going to be the least amount of work. We're not going to see it that much, so I'm not worried about it. As for these triangles here, we don't really need to solve them, but we can. If I go into my multi-cut tool, and we do a cut from here down through this edge, now we have a quad. And I can do the same thing over here. From here to this edge. Now I have a quad there. And we can move those out. So I'm going to go into perspective. I'm going to grab this one and that one. I can just move these out to round that toe. Same thing here. I can grab these. Move them out to round the toe. I can even take this front and move that back so it's not as sharp. And now I have a boot. I want to add one more cut right here to make this more flexible. So I'll get my multi-cut tool, and I'm going to hold Control over this and then just put a cut there. I think that's pretty good. Okay, looks pretty good here. We've got that and that for the pants. Let's go ahead and connect the leg to the body. I'm going to go up to the thigh here. Get my multi-cut. I'm going to add a cut right about here. And then I'm going to remove these top faces. So face mode. And I'm going to grab these. If you hold down the tab key, you can click and drag to select multiple. And we're going to go ahead and cut those off by hitting delete. Now we have this nice open space. Let's go into vertex selection. I'm going to move these down just a tad. And then I want to select both of these. So this one, go to object mode, and that one. Let's clear the history. So edit, delete by type, history. Don't forget to save because Maya likes to crash. So now that we have these selected, we're going to combine them. So hit combine. And you have to make sure you hit that combine tool. That way we can sew these together. So I'm going to go up to my target weld tool. And now we can start sewing this. I'm going to take this part of the leg and just kind of watch the bikini line here. So I'm going to take this point right about here. I'm going to sew to there. See that? I'm going to take this point, sew to there. I'm doing the inside to outside because it's going to be easier. So this one to there. Just check. From the back to the back. Leg to leg. There we go. This one to that one. From here to there. If you make a mistake, just hit Control Z. And then for this corner piece, it's going to be here to there. And now that leg is attached. Looks pretty good. You go from the front. I'll do some quick adjustments. So as I'm looking, this does bend a bit weird here. So I'm going to take this part of the boot, and I am going to just shuffle this over so it's a little bit straighter. I don't know if I really like the bend in the pants there, so I'm just going to adjust these a little bit nicer. Okay. Now I do want to add a cut above and below the knee. That way this is going to flex better. So I'll do a cut above, middle mouse and drag. And below, middle mouse and drag. And that'll make the knee a little bit more flexible. So when it comes time to bend that leg, it'll work better. Okay, that looks good there. I want to get rid of this little bump. To do that, I'm going to go up to the top of the thigh here, and I will just take these. I'll do a center scale, just pull those in. And then I will take the whole leg. So I'm going to grab all the way from the bottom. Come up to about there. So I have this whole leg section. I'm going to pull it over just a little bit. I think it looks good. That way we're not really bunched up in this corner. Yeah. Let's check the back of the leg here. Get this edge. F to frame on it. Just pull this out a little bit. Looks good. Okay, now we added one leg. What about the other? Well, we don't actually have to make the other. We're going to cheat. I'm going to go into face selection. Let's go to the front view. I'm going to select the left half of the body, so about to there. Just make sure you get the whole thing all the way through. I'll go into perspective just to double check. Make sure we only have this half. Okay, hit delete. Go into object mode. Let's make sure that our pivot is center. That should be dead center in the middle. If yours is not center, you can hit D and then hold down the X key and then move it center. It has to be center. Okay, and now we can mirror. Let's clear the history, edit, delete by type, history. And then we can go up to mesh, come down to mirror, get the box. We're going to uncheck cut geometry. We'll set it to copy. We'll have it set to world. Mirror on the X. We want to combine with original. And then we can hit mirror. Oh, look at that. We now have Jill's legs made. Amazing. Alright. And I think that's going to do it for this video. In the next one, we're going to start putting together Jill's arms. So stay tuned, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thank you for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed that video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Or if you want to support the channel, check me out on Patreon or pick up one of my books, Life and Times of Dinah and Marton, or The Guardian's Path of Ascension. Speaking of which, I'm converting The Guardians into a graphic novel / comic book series. Here is a sneak peek. My wonderful artist, Patrick, is doing a great job. I'm excited. I want to push this out as soon as possible. So definitely keep your ears and eyes open for that. I'll be making announcements as we get closer, and I'll post some shots of that as we go. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can check me out on Twitter. I guess now it's X. Who does that? It's BruceRF1 at Twitter, or at whatever the new thing for Twitter is. Anyway, hopefully see you there, and I'll see you guys next time.